If you're not doing these couple of things, you have quite literally 0% chance of getting into Harvard or any Ivy League or top 25 school for that matter. Because Harvard admissions was sued a couple years ago, we actually have a unique insight into what their admissions process looks like. But other elite schools will also have a very similar process for admitting students as to what Harvard does. So this won't just apply to Harvard. We could take this process and replicate it across any top school in the country. The lawsuit against Harvard exposed exactly why some applications get approved while others get thrown into the trash can. So if you want to maximize your chances of getting into a top school, we actually have a very specific formula that we can follow that tells us what we should do. It all starts with understanding how Harvard ranks students. They have 5 different things that they're ranking you on, and they rank you on a scale from 1 to 6, with 1 being the highest and 6 over here being the lowest. So if we want to get into Harvard, we need to fill up all of these categories with as many 1s as we possibly can. Now, the first and most important category that Harvard ranks you on is the academic category. Now, this one might sound obvious, but we need to break down exactly how we can get a ranking of 1 in this category, because having both a perfect GPA and a 36 on the ACT doesn't actually get you there. Scoring a 1 in any category means that you stand out from the crowd in an exceptional way, like a once-in-a-generation talent. And apparently there are enough students with perfect transcripts, tons of AP classes, and 36 ACTs, but Harvard doesn't think these things are enough to count for a 1. So according to Harvard, in order for a student to get a perfect score in the academic category, they need to not only have perfect grades and at least a 35 on the ACT, but they also need to have some sort of original academic project that they're engaged in. Now, there are a couple things that could fall into this category. One of them being winning like some national math competition, but another one could be like performing some sort of unique academic research outside of your typical school activities. Now, that's what you need if you want to get a perfect score of a 1 in the academic category, but if you want to get a very respectable, very achievable score of a 2, then what we need to do is have at least a 33 on the ACT and have what Harvard calls a superb academic track record. Now, importantly, you don't actually need a 1 in every single category to get into Harvard. Most students who actually get into Harvard have 2s in pretty much all the categories and no 1s. But if you can get a rating of 1, it can almost guarantee that your application is going to be approved. So here's what you can do to move yourself up as high as you possibly can. Obviously, we need the grades and we need the test scores. But if you want to stand out, you should also identify the academic subject that you're most passionate about and explore opportunities to do something creative and original in this area. For example, if you enjoy doing math and statistics, what you can do is you can go to your statistics teacher and talk to them about doing a research project. Maybe you can come up with a stat project about how accurate polling data is in predicting the actual outcomes of elections. Or if you're into biology, you can Google some local laboratories that are conducting research on local wildlife populations, and you can create a research project out of that. The key here is to find something that actually interests you and take steps toward having a tangible project that you can actually point to the results of and say, this is something that I created and these are the results. Now, the next category is the one that I would say is the most misunderstood one of all. I would say this is where most students make the biggest mistake of all, and this is the easiest way to get your application tossed right into the shredder. This second category that Harvard's rating you on is your extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities are where you need to demonstrate leadership, initiative, and most importantly, depth. Harvard wants to bring in students who have a unique talent and leadership ability. And a top score in this category is reserved for someone who has what they call national level achievement or professional experience. So a 1 in this category would require something like founding a successful charity, starting a successful business, or generating a national audience on social media. And the most important thing here is depth. Harvard does not care that you joined 4 clubs and became the vice president of 2 of them. And they want you to do that one thing extraordinarily well. This is what makes so many applications look bland. If a student played a varsity sport, joined the Global Health Club, started the book club that had like 5 members in it, became VP of the chess club, and collected 50 hours of volunteering at the local food bank, that application looks the exact same as every other one and probably earns like a 3 or a 4 in extracurriculars. And guess what? That application is probably getting thrown into the trash can. You need to shoot for one accomplishment that can be measured or recognized in some way. So here's how you can do this. Find the thing that you enjoy doing outside of the classroom and find a way to do more of it. If you're passionate about playing online chess, start recording your games and posting them on YouTube, Twitch, and other platforms. I actually had a student that I encouraged to do exactly this, and he now has over 20,000 subscribers across various social media platforms. Now, if you're passionate about the environment, then schedule a community cleanup, advertise it, and get people to show up for it. Then schedule another one and another one and another one until you're leading a full-scale community cleanup group. Again, just like with the academic one, We need some tangible outcome that we can point to and say that we've done this. Now, next up, we have another category where students lose out on what I consider to be easy points. This is what Harvard calls the personal category. The personal category is your chance to showcase what makes you uniquely compelling beyond your academics and your extracurriculars. However, it can be confusing because you can also showcase some of these things through your extracurricular activities. What Harvard wants to see here is that a student has good qualities like character, integrity, and strong personal values. Now, in the release documents from the lawsuit, it says, and I quote, "This should include such considerations as what kind of contribution would the person make to the dining hall conversation, to study groups, and to society as a whole after their graduation." So if you want to earn a 1 in this category, you have to do something that showcases that you overcame a significant obstacle, or you have to find a way to inspire other people around you or show extraordinary concern or compassion for other people. Now, there are some things that students have to overcome because of bad luck that happened to them or their family, but since we can't just make that happen, let's talk about what steps you can actually take in order to earn yourself a 1. This is where choosing a specific extracurricular activity may earn you some extra crossover points. While cultivating a strong chess following on social media may earn a 1 for extracurriculars, building an organization that solves a humanitarian problem like homelessness might earn you a 1 in extracurriculars and earn a 1 in the personal category. However, even if you don't have an extracurricular activity that also carries over to this personal category, you can still earn very strong marks through a powerful essay and a really good interview. Okay, now the next category is one that I personally think is actually the easiest one to score extra points in, and it really doesn't require a whole lot of extra work. This is what Harvard calls the school support category, otherwise known as just your letters of recommendation. Harvard wants to see that all the other aspects of your application are backed up by your teachers and maybe your college counselor as well. So in order to score a 1 in this category, Harvard says that you need to be described as the best student of a career or one of the best students in many years by at least one of your teachers in a letter of recommendation. And while that obviously only happens once every couple years, most students should be pretty happy with scoring a strong 2 in this category, which is a lot easier to achieve and really just requires an overall very positive letter from your teachers. And now here's the huge secret to getting something like this. Don't be a complete jerk to your teachers in class. If you just show genuine interest in a subject and you're generally just nice to your teacher, maybe every once in a while you ask them how their weekend was or you offer to do a favor for them, then you can get a great letter of rec from them. There is absolutely no reason why you can't just be a nice person to your teachers, especially when we're only talking about being nice to 2 of them to get 2 letters of recommendation. This is one of the lowest hanging pieces of fruit in the entire application process. And if you need more direction on how to be a nice person, then I probably just can't help you out that much. And finally, we have a controversial category to get into. This is the 5th and final category that Harvard grades you on, and it's the athletic category. Harvard uses this category as kind of like a bonus. If you score really well in the athletic category, that can boost your application, but you won't really be hurt by a low score in athletics. So in order to score a 1 here, a student has to be either a recruited athlete or a national level talent in a sport that they don't have on campus, like Olympic bobsledding or something. Now, a lot of people have been complaining recently about how athletic recruiting into the Ivy Leagues is unfair to other students, but at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, and exceptional athletes are allowed to take advantage of the hard work that they put into their sport. So whether it's fair or not, if you're a great athlete, this could be your ticket into an Ivy League school like Harvard. But even if you're not quite good enough to get recruited, your athletic career could still help you out if you show strong leadership. For example, playing 4 years of a varsity sport in high school and earning team captain by the time you're a senior could end up earning you a 2 in this category, which could give your application a decent boost. With athletics, I always say that it can be a tough decision on whether it's worth your time or not worth your time. What I would say is that if you're truly passionate about a sport in high school, stick with it. Even if you don't get recruited, you can still benefit your application by becoming captain, and more importantly, you'll enjoy your time doing it. But if you're not passionate about a sport and you're just doing it to fill up the extracurriculars list, you're probably wasting your time. Remember, Harvard cares about the depth of an activity, not the overall number of things that you participated in. So those are the 5 things that Harvard cares about in your application. And now you know exactly what you need to do in order to impress them. Now keep in mind, you won't be able to score a 1 in every single category. I think that's actually pretty much impossible, and I'd be surprised if anybody has ever scored a 1 in every single category. In fact, most students who get into Harvard end up doing so without a 1 in any category. So if you want to stand out and really make sure that your application has a strong chance of getting accepted, then making that top score in 1 or 2 different categories is a surefire way to get your application accepted. accepted. Now, if you're aiming for admission into Harvard or any other top level school, then hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more information on how to maximize your chances. And if you're looking for how you can increase that academic ranking, then click the link in the description and see how you could boost your ACT score by up to 8 points.